Well, one of my questions is, maybe everybody doesn't know, but you play Rocket Raccoon.
I did. I did.
Well, let's give it up, man. Come on.
I played my on-screen role of Kraglin as Yondu's first mate, and then I also did all of the motion reference work for Rocket, and I actually played Rocket on set. So I was there every day, doing the lines and getting my body contorted down into a position where my face was where Rocket's was, so that the other actors could be working with another actor and not looking at an empty space,
Were you also Groot?
No. Well, Rocket and Groot are in so many scenes together. I don't think I could have done both at the same time.
I guess you're right.
But no, there was a great Polish actor named Christian who played Groot on set.
Sure, absolutely. What about Dan Starkey?
I can't hear the question.
Is somebody? Did somebody say something I can't hear? Oh, hi.
Is there a question up front there? You got to come to the microphone. I think they're having microphone problems. Well, sure, your character Kraglin was pretty awesome, and that must have been. Can you tell us any like real crazy stuff that was happening? It seems like that was a.
Well, I can tell you this. I can tell you that when in the scene where Michael Rooker and where Yondu is punching Chris Pratt. Or punching Quill rather, that Chris said to Michael Rooker, he's like, go ahead and really, I want it to look really realistic, so go ahead and really, you can give it to me. And Rooker, being a crazy man that he is, just really was hitting him very hard, and I could tell that was very painful.
All right, first question.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Good. I have a question, like when you were doing the voice, or not the motion capture for Rocket, like did you base it off Raccoon movements, or how did you do that? Like,
I did a little bit, but I didn't have to do a whole lot of moving around as Rocket. There are a couple of scenes where he does a walk and talk, like in the kiln when he tells everybody to, this guy's our prisoner. I kind of had to get down on my hands and knees, but honestly, what was the most important thing was that my face be where Rocket's face was. Okay. So the rest of my movements, for the most part, were just sort of CGI'd out, or they would use the subsequent take where I would be doing the lines, but with a blank space.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
Yeah.
And then just real quick, like, how was it working with your brother? Like,
I actually love working with my brother.
Yeah.
He's I think it would be a lot harder if he weren't actually a great director, but he knows what he's doing, and I've been acting for most of my life, and he's the boss on set, and we don't really, I don't really look at him as my older brother. He's kind of just the director when we're working together.
Thank you.
Thanks.
What was it like being part of such a big project?
It was wild. I mean, I had never, I'd never worked on something that massive before, and the thing I was most blown away by was when I first got to London, where we filmed and saw the sets, because a lot of these space movies, they're almost entirely CGI, but our movie, we actually built a lot of those sets. So the Milano and the spaceships were fully built, and when we walked into the kiln, it was amazing. I mean, that whole set was right there, and we're actually standing on it, and that was unbelievable.
Thank you.
I just want to ask, what movies or TV shows or comic books, pop culture in general, inspired you to get into showbiz yourself? And did you ever get any flack from your family saying, not discouraging you not to go into it because so many people don't make it?
You get a lot of that. You get a lot of people sort of telling you, like I grew up with a lot of people telling me that telling me what the statistics were for actors being out of work and how they all tend to be unemployed. But I didn't let that deter me very much. As far as my family goes, I'm one of 6 kids, and I've got 4 brothers, and they're all in the entertainment industry, which being just from a family from suburban St. Louis is pretty odd. But we all ended up sort of going out, and 3 of my brothers are writers, and one's a is an executive, and so my parents, I think, got used to it pretty quickly. But I always wanted to be an actor, and if people tell you, that you can't do it, it doesn't matter. What they think doesn't matter. It's all about your own dedication,
So start young, mainly.
Yeah.
What was it like to be one of the few people on set not in alien makeup and prosthetics?
It was great. I was so happy when James told me that my character was humanoid. I really appreciated it. I was very grateful that I wasn't going to have to spend, hours. And even the makeup I had still did take a little bit of time because I had a lot of scars that had to be applied. But yeah, nothing like, Batista was like 7 hours he'd be in makeup or whatever, and it was insane. So yeah, I was very grateful, and I'm even more grateful that I didn't get killed.
Hey there.
Hey.
Seriously, Gilmore Girls reunion? Any
Keep cheering. I know this. I know that a lot of us who worked on the show would love to see that happen.
Right.
And all I could say is that you can include me in the people that would love to go back and do it again.
Yeah.
I'd love to play Kirk again. I miss playing him, and I hope a reunion happens someday. But I have no idea at this point.
Oh, but a more serious question, I guess. I'm a film student, just planning how I could break into the industry. Any tips?
Just make stuff.
Yeah.
Seriously, the most important, I think the best advice I can give for any young filmmaker or anybody who's starting out is finish what you start, and particularly at the beginning, let it be bad if it's bad. It's more about completing it and seeing what you've got and learning from the process and moving on to the next thing and really just continuing to make stuff and not be, left just hoping that you do someday. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Now that you've worked with Marvel, what roles would you like to be in? Like, what would you want to be cast as, or what characters in future Marvel movies? Yeah.
Well, that's a good question. I tend not to. When I play a role, I tend to kind of look at them one at a time. I don't think a lot about what role I'd like to play someday. It's more about what I'm auditioning for in the moment or what is open to me at the time. But I will say that I'd love to play a bad guy. I think maybe Kraglin's a little bit he's sort of in the in-between side, but I don't know, it'd be fun to be a villain.
More serious villain or someone who's a little more laid back and a little cut loose a little more?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess can I be laid back and serious?
Hi.
Hi.
That was the nervous black cat yesterday at the.
Oh, hi. I remember you.
Yeah. I'm a sucker for sibling stories, so I wanted to know, growing up, what was like the biggest trouble you and James have ever gotten into?
Well, the biggest trouble, I don't know. I'm the little brother, and so it wasn't always so much trouble as him treating me like I was like his little pet and doing things to me. Like, I remember he used to tickle me mercilessly. I remember one time he and my brother Brian, they put me, this is ridiculous. They put me, I was really tiny, and they put me in a cardboard box with a whole bunch of blocks, and they were rolling me around. They shut it up and taped it shut, and they were rolling me around the floor. I didn't get hurt though. I thought it was fun. It was fun.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay. This is not so much a question as a couple of requests.
Okay.
I was at Wizard World Reno with Karen.
Okay.
And I had asked her if, for a sequel, she would want to have a one-on-one fight with Yondu, because Michael Rooker was at the same con and had the Q&A before her. She said, yeah, she would love to.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just thinking, next time you're talking with your brother, if anything about Guardians of the Galaxy 2 comes up, if you could say, hey, some people were saying they would really want to see Yondu versus Nebula. You think we could put something like that in? The other thing is,
I wish I had that much influence over my brother.
well, I mean, if you could just mention it, I don't know, maybe he'll love the idea. The other request is,
I can't even get him to read an email, so I don't know. It might be tricky. No, I'm kidding.
maybe you should ask your parents to like intercede.
Yeah, tell them to get mad.
I mean, I don't know how it is with your family, but I have a Hispanic family, and if the parents want any of the siblings to do something, they go, "You better do it.
Yeah.
You're gonna do it right now." But the other request.
Yeah, my dad will just go, "Jimmy, goddammit."
Yeah. The other request is, I saw Karen's Cuna yesterday, and also, is there any chance that for the sequel, can Nebula have some hair so poor Karen doesn't have to shave her head?
I love the way Nebula looks. I think she looks badass.
Well, she did, her first appearance in comics, she did have hair, so there is a precedent.
That's true.
Plus, she could be in disguise. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. I hope Nebula has a bigger part in the sequel.
What was your favorite part about acting on set?
You know, it was very gratifying to be working with my brother on something so big after so many years of doing little stuff together, you know, from the time we were little kids making Super 8 movies in the basement or whatever, to then be on set of such a big, ambitious movie, to sort of see the trajectory of all the years, I think was kind of really cool. It was nice just being there and being able to see that every day. There was a lot of people who really loved the project, I think, and believed in it.
Okay. Okay.
We're back.
Hi. Am I allowed to ask 2 questions or just one?
Go for it.
Okay, here's the first question. There is actually a rumor, I remember going on YouTube and I was looking at comments, like the scene where, where all the Guardians of the Galaxy were joining hands, like from the Infinity Stone. And then there's like people complaining about like, oh, I wish Groot was in it and all those stuff. And all of a sudden somebody's like, maybe he actually was joining hands in the Infinity Stone. Because if you would have looked at the whole scene, like with the Guardians joining hand, if you looked underneath their feet, you would see that Groot's twigs, that they're glowing purple twigs, and it actually shows like a hint that Groot was actually joining with them.
Are both questions this long?
Well, that guy had a very long question.
No, go on. I'm sorry.
But yeah, is the rumor actually true that Groot was actually with them? Like that he, like the way how his twigs was glowing with them? Is that like a hint that he was actually with them, like just working together?
I think that if you saw that and you want to believe it, that's awesome. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question for sure.
Okay. Second question. I actually heard about like the animated series of Guardians of the Galaxy coming out, and they said it was going to be on 2015. It's 2015 now. I'm just like, when is it coming out now? Summer? Or?
I think it's supposed to come out at some point this year, but I don't know. It's pretty separate from the
I'll just keep looking
film
at
world.
updates
So
and
yeah.
stuff. But yeah,
You'll see it
thank
soon
you.
enough. Sure thing. Thank you.
Hello.
Hi.
There's an episode of Gilmore Girls where Kirk makes T-shirts for something interesting that happened that day.
Bad ate oatmeal.
Yeah. What would be the T-shirt for today or this weekend?
For this weekend? Well, I think that I think that Kirk would think that many of the costumes are inappropriate. Personally, I love them. I think they're awesome. Miami's been great. You guys have all been excellent. But yeah, I think that Kirk may have a little bit of a problem with how scantily clad a lot of the people are.
Okay. Thank you.
Hi.
Hey.
I was wondering on Gilmore Girls, you started off as another character, right? You were Mick.
Yeah.
I was just wondering what happened that you started off as Mick and then you came back as Kirk.
I don't know why she changed the name, to be honest. I mean, I think it was what happened was that I went in and and played that role of the DSL installer, whose name was Mick, and I did the first episode like that. And then it was just supposed to be one episode, and I was going to be done. But then they kept having these parts pop up, and Amy Palladino, the creator of the show, was like, I want a guy like that guy who played the DSL installer. And the casting people said, why don't you just get him back in again? She thought about it and was like, that's a pretty cool idea. And so she just started asking me back, but I was confused. I was like, now wait a minute, am I the same character? Is this a different guy, or what's going on? They're like, no, it's the same guy, it's the same guy. But she changed his name for some reason. I think that once she got the idea of having him come back, she liked the name Kirk better, so.
Cool.
Different name in the first episode, I don't know why.
Cool. Well, it's a cool name. So.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, cool, thanks.
Who is your favorite character besides yourself on Guardians of the Galaxy?
Well, obviously Rocket's very close to me because of my work with Rocket, but I'll exclude him as well. There's just something about Drax. I love Drax, and I love Dave Bautista as Drax, and I think he's my favorite.
Yeah, he's cool.
Yeah. Thank you.
What's your favorite?
I'm sorry.
I know, that's good. Yeah, go on.
How they make comment? Sorry. Let me think. How they make comment? How they make an idea by talking Raccoon?
Well, the idea came from the comic book, which has been around for a long time. I think the Guardians first premiered in the late '60s. So
how did he talk?
He was genetically engineered. He was a regular animal that scientists then took and they did genetic experiments on him and gave him super intelligence and changed his mouth to give him the ability to speak and gave him all these technological capabilities. And so he was built in a lab, essentially.
Did he fight?
He fights now, yeah. He's
how, the gun? Like,
yeah, exactly, yeah.
And oh,
thank you.
Hello.
Hi.
Back on the topic of Gilmore Girls.
Yes.
I remembered that you had a lot of jobs involving in the show. What was your favorite job you had in the show?
I get that question a lot, and I'm not sure exactly how to answer it. I honestly, a lot of my favorite episodes are ones where I wasn't working, which I guess is just like real life. Like you have more fun when you're in your off days. But like I loved the episode where I played Jesus in the Festival of Living Art, and I love the episode with where I played Tevye in Fiddler on the Roof, and I love the Cat Kirk episode because I have cats and I love cats. But those are all episodes where Kirk wasn't working, so I think he probably had more fun on his off days.
Hi.
Hello.
Thank you for what you did for my son yesterday.
Oh, sure.
I would like to know if when Chris, I guess, kind of jacked his costume and went around to hospitals and stuff for kids and stuff, do you plan on doing anything like that? Because that would be awesome.
Sure. I mean, I love, first of all, I love meeting fans anywhere and wherever I can. But definitely, I have a couple of different charities that I've worked with, and my main charity that I work for is actually an animal rescue organization. But I'm always up for whatever.
Oh, cool. What animal rescue?
It's called Kit Crusaders in LA, and they really go door to door and save animals that are going to be put down.
Hello.
Hey.
What was the strangest thing that the crew told you to do?
Wow. Well, I was wearing that silly green costume, and so I was down on my hands and knees, which was pretty strange in its own right. So I think just doing that alone was pretty weird.
Hello.
Hey.
Can we expect to see more Kraglin in the sequel?
I hope so, man. I think you should start a campaign online where you get fans to see more Kraglin. I'm as excited to read the script for the next one as you guys are to see it, and And yeah, I think I should be back, but you never know. It's not, you know. I'd be happy just to make an appearance for sure.
Hey man, what's up?
Hey, how's it going?
As a motion capture artist now, Andy Serkis seems to be pioneering the field. Do you believe that it should have its own Academy Award category?
You know, I guess it should. I got to be totally honest. And maybe this is wrong to say in my field. I could care less about the Academy Awards. I mean, I just think that I think the idea of a bunch of celebrities getting together and dressing up and giving each other awards is kind of it's just not for me. I mean, bless them, but it's not something that I'm terribly interested in. But they certainly work as hard and they deserve as much recognition as everybody else on the crew does.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
How do you feel about getting so many questions about Gilmore Girls?
I like it. I love Gilmore Girls.
Could you say hi to my sister, Sarah?
Hello, Sarah.
Thank you so much.
Hi.
Hi.
So as Kraglin in Guardians of the Galaxy, you do a lot of funny stuff in the background. So I wanted, and lots of funny lines.
That's just me stealing focus and trying to make the scene about me when it's supposed to be about the people
I know it is.
in the front. Yeah, thanks.
But how much of that was improvised and how much was written?
I got to give my brother credit for a lot of the improvisations because we'll start to riff and do stuff, but he's also behind the camera, like yelling stuff for us to do. So I think, you know, maybe half the stuff is stuff I can't, just in terms of the physical stuff, like punch and Drax is something that my brother told me to do on set. There's definitely some lines that I came up with, but most of what you see is scripted. It's really just right at the end of the scene, you know, that we'll throw in an extra line or whatever, you know.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, I have 2 questions about Gilmore Girls.
Okay, shoot.
Will there ever be a reunion movie or show, do you think? There's been talk over the years.
I don't know yet. I mean, I know that there are a lot of fans that would love to see it, and I know that a lot of us would love to try to put one together, but we'll have to see. I mean, it's a matter of a lot of different schedules and to see if the you know the willingness is there from the people who make it.
Okay. And one of my favorite episodes is they shoot Gilmore's Old Day.
Oh yeah, the dance episode. Yeah.
Dance episode. Did they ever, since that was like an annual thing at Stars Hollow, did they ever talk about bringing that back, or because you know your character
I know we
won
just did
every
the
year.
one, and it was supposed to win every year, but we only did it the 1 year.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. That was just a one-off, but I did have to kind of learn how to dance for that episode, at least for.
Okay.
It was a lot more grueling than I wanted it to be, but it was a blast.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to ask a question just because big Guardians of the Galaxy enthusiast. From the soundtrack, what's the one song that always gets stuck in your head?
You know, that's a good question. I think that I Want You Back, the Jackson 5 song, is probably my favorite song on the whole soundtrack, but a lot of those things got stuck in our heads because my brother had written each song into the movie before we started, and they got the rights. So for a lot of those scenes, we're actually playing the soundtrack on set while we're, you know, doing the shots that are playing under them, which is really cool.
Yeah, awesome. Go ahead, man.
So, I know Vin Diesel is Groot, and all he says is, "I am Groot," and then "We are Groot." Did you get to interact with him at all, or was he just like in the studio a day or two and that was it?
No, I saw him. I did not actually. I had met him many years ago through another thing, but no, I did not see him at all over the shoot. I didn't see him until we started like at the premiere.
What about Bradley
I actually
Cooper?
met Bradley at the
Oh,
premiere,
you did? Okay.
which was great. Yeah.
Thank you.
Sean, you sort of touched on how wonderful it was to be seeing, you know, starting small and now doing a multi-million-dollar blockbuster and working on that. Could you touch on, you know, when you were starting small? You know, obviously you started with Troma and
Right.
you know, Lloyd Kaufman's a big fan of this festival. We have him coming here. We love Lloyd, and
He's another maniac.
Yeah, what was it like working in the Troma days?
Well, I thought of Troma immediately when I went to when I visited the production office for Guardians because, and I said this to my brother that, you know, you walk into this production office of this big Marvel movie and it's massive and there's you know, artist renderings all over the place and there's animatics running and there's big colored photographs and boards everywhere. And I was like, I just had this flashback to walking into the production office for Tromeo and Juliet, which was literally just like one small room and a bulletin board with things tacked up. And I'm like, it's really ultimately the same thing. Even though it's a million times bigger, it's still the same. It serves the same function for the movie. It's the incubator where the ideas come out of. And I just thought that was a really cool thing.
Was it the same level of camaraderie, or was it much more professional, or, you know?
You know, I made great friends doing Tromeo and Juliet that I have to this day, and my brother did too. And I made great friends doing Guardians. And you know, it might sound like a silly thing to say, but it really is true that surrounding yourself with actually good people who aren't jerks and who aren't egomaniacs, who are interested in being creative and trying to make works of art for the sake of doing something that you can give to people from a spirit of giving, that's the best thing. And it really doesn't matter if it's a small budget or if it's a big budget, as long as you're doing it with love and you really care about the project.
You guys have another question right here for you, Sean.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh, that's loud. How's it going?
Pretty good.
I just wanted to say I really love the movie Slither, and I wanted to know if you had any funny stories that you know of that happened on set during filming.
I don't know. I do know this, that I really would have liked to have been in Slither, but I was shooting Gilmore Girls at the time. So I was never, I wasn't available to do, I don't know for sure if I would have done it anyway, but I wasn't available to do it. I knew that. I know they had a great time. I mean, obviously my brother brings Rooker back now on everything he does, so I know that basically having Michael Rooker on board has been the worst mistake that my brother ever made.
What? Oh, no. All right, well, thank you.
Hi, how are you?
Hi.
You seem like a nice guy, and you seem like you have like a perception of what is this business about. How you deal with people in this business that have different like egos, or like they want to accomplish something, they want to do something, but you want to keep your mind in what you think. For example, you give a comment about the Oscars and what you think, I believe is great. What you think? How you deal with people that thinks different than you in this business?
Well, I think you have to strike a balance. It's like any industry where you can't have too much laser-like focus on your own vision, because it takes other people to collaborate to actually make something. So you have to keep your ears open and listen to other ideas, while at the same time keeping your mind on the vision of what it is that you want to create. And also you have to remember from people, from studios or financiers or whatever, that it is a business, and nobody wants to put up the money, because it's expensive to make a movie, even a small one, and people want to make their money back, and they should. So it's got to be part of it. You got to just find the balance where you're doing both. You have a creative vision, but that that ultimately it's got to pay for itself somehow.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hi.
Hey.
Question. Love the movie, of course. Great movie. I guess I'm really into filmmaking, and I wanted to get your perspective with such a movie like this that has so much visual effects to it and things like that. I know on sound stages it can be a little difficult to really see the place that you're going to be supposed to be acting in.
Right.
So what do you feel is your best way to get into seeing something that isn't really there?
I think the most important thing there, when you're having to imagine things that you aren't seeing, is to first of all, good old-fashioned rehearsal. Just make sure that the actors have rehearsed and are ready to go, and everybody's on the same page about what it is that we're looking at and experiencing. You're always using your imagination to some degree when you're acting. And so in some ways it doesn't make a huge difference if you've got, a green screen instead of a real cityscape or real moonscape or whatever it is. just like that person isn't really your father or your best friend or whatever. You're always imagining to some degree. So you just got to keep your imagination sharp and focused, I think.
All right, thank you.
Sure thing.
Hey Sean, what's up?
Hi, what's up, man?
I really did enjoy the movie Guardians of the Galaxy. Was wondering if you could make a shout out for my dad that didn't get to make it. His name is Jose.
His name is Jose?
Yeah.
What's up, Jose? This is your shout out.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Hello.
Hello.
Out of Guardians of the Galaxy, Mary, Behead, and who would you do? Out of Guardians of the Galaxy.
That's a racy question. I'll tell you who I'd marry and who I'd behead. I'd behead Rooker, obviously. I always have to say that I actually love Rooker and we're very close friends because sometimes we go off on each other and then everybody's like, they hate each other. There, people online think that we're really fighting. But so yeah, I would behead Yondu, and I would marry. I like Barit from the beginning of the movie, played by Malia Kraglin. She's very sweet, and I would have liked to see more of her. So that's it. I can't answer the third part of that. I think Marvel would get mad.
Sean, a lot of us are fans of Gilmore Girls, and the thing that strikes me about it is how many great, talented actors really cut their teeth during Gilmore Girls.
Yeah, there were a lot.
What was the casting process? How did these people get hold of such great talent, or was it just the writing that brought the talent up?
I think that I think it's both. I think that, first of all, the casting directors, Mark Casey and Jamie Radofsky, have a great eye for talent, and they really love actors. So they will bring in actors no matter what their level of experience, and they would bring in people that had done nothing before but were great. And so a lot of those people went on to continue to have success. But then I also think it's always got to be good writing. If the words are good, you can make a mediocre actor look great, or if the writing is good enough. It's always about that.
Can you tell us a little bit about how you got into being on Gilmore Girls? Or obviously you changed roles. We went over that. But I mean, did you have an agent trying to get you this job? Or?
Yeah, I was doing a lot of little TV roles at the time, like doing little guest spots here and there. And actually, my agent at the time, I think, wanted me to pass on the Gilmore Girls audition, by the way. But that was a long time ago. Yeah, I just straight up old-fashioned audition. I got called in to go read for the DSL installer, and I'm like, let me read the scene. If it's cool, I'll go in and read for him. And it ended up being just about the greatest thing that happened in my career.
Absolutely. Well, of course, your star is rising tremendously now that you're doing blockbuster movies, and we hope that Kraglin will continue to be in the next sequel. But you have no exclusive information on this sequel. Certainly, they must say, Kraglin, you got to walk or do something because in the next movie you're going to do. I mean, did you get any hints?
Well, I do know who Quill's father is, and.
Okay. Or, wait, is there any in the press? Any of the press out here?
Yeah, I can tell you that it's. Oh, I think we're out of time.
Yes,
actually,
we're running out of time.
I have precious little information about the sequel. I know a little bit, but I'm eager to find out more, just like y'all.
We got time for one more question, and so this lady has the floor.
Hi.
I just had one more. I'm a huge Gilmore Girls fan.
Oh, cool.
I loved your work. I wanted to know, do you know how many jobs Kirk had overall?
Somewhere online, somebody kept track, and I don't know the answer to that. But I think it's like, I don't know. I think it's like 40 or something. I don't know. It was a lot.
A lot, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thanks.